All right, grasshoppers. It is 10 o'clock Thursday morning. Happy 4th of July. I looked it up. I just want to make sure that we had it correct why we celebrate 4th of July. So that's when we signed the Declaration of Independence. I should know that, but it's not necessarily our birthday. But again, it's when the country was really founded, separated from England. Blimey bastards. Again, happy 4th of July, buddy. Hope everybody's safe and having fun. We won't go too long today. I'm sure everybody's out barbecuing with their family, which is where they should be. I will be with mine later. Be interested to see what anybody's got going on. 4th of July, so it's interesting, the fireworks. Oh, man, they've been going on for like 3 or 4 days, sitting outside. Great weather, sitting outside. Oh, unbelievable. Made some homemade sourdough bread yesterday. Oh, my God. We homemade, I call it ketchup dipping sauce. There's Susan Brooks, you magical creature. How are you doing? Happy 4th of July, Susan. So I made sourdough bread yesterday with that dipping sauce. It's all vegetables. It's onion, tomato, garlic, spinach, capers. Capers is technically a fruit. Cook that up, saute all that up, and soften it up and everything. Put it in a blender, add a little apple cider vinegar. Oh, my goodness. It was a little runny, so we put in some tomato paste to thicken it up a little bit. Oh, my gosh. And then dip the fresh sourdough bread. It's still warm. Dip that in the sauce. My God. Gotta be a little bit careful. It'll bung me up a little bit, I haven't had a poop yet this morning, so I think you gotta be careful of sourdough bread. And we had some sourdough starters, so we're making sourdough pizza today. Homemade sourdough pizza dough. We use our homemade sauce, and then we'll have mozzarella with probably some spinach and tomato on that, and probably some shrimp too. Oh my goodness. Happy 4th there, you magical veteran. Let me see. Yeah. Where's William Hayes? Let's get him up on the screen here. Happy 4th of July, William. I hope you're not working today. I think you're away on vacation, aren't you? Last time we talked. So, all right. So I will announce this a couple times today. We'll have more people get on. But big show tomorrow. Mark Pavich's sister, Jean. We've been in communications lately, and she's going to be on our show next week at this time to help promote the Mark Pavlich ranch that they're a part of. So great cause. And also I think she wants to, and I want to as well, kind of dispel any rumors that are not true about Mark and what happened in the past and all that kind of stuff. So that's important. So that'll be a fun show. Well, not fun is the right word. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously not a fun story, but be interested to talk to you. I've never talked to Gene before. Obviously, we've exchanged messages before. So, and I think one of Mark's best friends, I think his name is Ronnie, is coming on as well. So it'll be interesting because, again, it's funny with Mark. As much as we played together, he wasn't a guy that really opened up a lot. So we really didn't get to know each other that well. I mean, we were great friends. We'd die for each other. But so, yeah. Let me see. And my oldest daughter's now with the kids and grandkids. Actually, that's fantastic, William. Good job. 4th of July holiday, hanging out with the family. That's cool. Grandkids and everything. Dougie DeVito, magical creature. Happy 4th of July. So again, next week at this time, 10 o'clock, Jean Pavlich, Mark Pavlich's sister, and one of his best friends, I believe his name is Ronnie, will be on with us. So we'll kind of, again, promote the ranch, update on that. And it was interesting with Jean. She brought up, she wanted to kind of, I can't remember the phrase she used, but wanted to dispel any untruths that were out there. And I didn't really think of that because I guess we just assumed that everything we were hearing was the truth, but that'll be interesting too, to give her the opportunity to really make sure that we know more about Mark and what happened at the end of his life there. So that'll be cool. And next Thursday at this time, 10 o'clock. Okay. So I don't want to put a damper on things, but we got the hot dog eating contest today. Oh my God, man. Like you might as well, seriously, right next door, just have the cigarette smoking contest. Be just as healthy for you. How about the video? I tell you, we are changing the world one poop at a time. Really, the video with the mirror on the toilet there, and that is a breakthrough. Think of that. Whoever thought of that is brilliant. Yeah, baseball is the American sport. Going to be Yankee. There you go. Wouldn't expect anything from you, Susan, other than that. She's a New York sports lover, very knowledgeable about everything too. Okay, so we're going to cover, how about free agency too, man? No disrespect to Brady Shea, a real gentleman. I've met him before. But that's a lot of money. He got what, 7 years, $7 million a year, I think he did from Nashville. All right, so now let's go to the Trouba saga, and I'll give you my take on things. Obviously, we'd like to see if last year had gone better for him, would they still be wanting to get rid of him? I still think they would because of the cap dollars. That's the issue with them. So come July 1st, he had to submit a list of 15 teams that he would not go to. Now, I talked to one GM yesterday, and he thought that Detroit was not on that list. Or Detroit was on that list, that he did not want to go to Detroit. I was told differently because, I mean, obviously they were talking to each other. If there was no interest there for Trouba, then the two teams wouldn't talk to each other. So Susan's brother there, Larry, very eloquently wrote about Trouba's wife and her issue with her residency that is going a year longer than they had planned. Becoming the Rangers 2-0, yeah. So, first of all, there's been plenty of cases in the past where a wife may have a situation. I mean, this wasn't work related, but my ex-wife had my stepson had a son from a previous marriage when I was traded. So that became an issue because now the father was concerned, and I understand it too, that now we were taking his son out of state and what was going to be his access to him. So I raised that because there's been plenty of times in the past where there's been issues, family issues, where it becomes difficult for the family if the player is traded away. But I mean, I hate to be cold like this, but he's making $8 million a year. They can figure it out. And Michigan isn't like on the other side of the world. And it's going to just be 1 year, and then she can move. I know they get a young child and all that kind of stuff. But my concern here, and Susan can speak to this too, all the Ranger fans. But okay, so now it's gone public that they wanted to trade Trouba. Not that they didn't like him. Apparently the conversations were very cordial and professional, but they need the cap space. So now it gets out, and not just from Larry Brooks, but well, obviously he's one of the main sources. And he didn't do anything wrong, but it's announced that the trade is getting hung up because of the wife and her situation. So the Rangers want to move forward. They want to get better. They want to win a cup. So can you imagine when Jacob Trouba goes on the ice and maybe whatever reason, but let's say he makes a bad play. Rangers lose a game. They lose another game. And they're playing at home. Man, it is going to be one tough spot for him to play. And the comments that have been coming out, I mean, the Ranger fans want to win. And if it looks like Jacob Trouba's wife is holding them back from getting more cap space so they can sign more players to be a better team, then that's going to be a tough spot. Interesting developments. I have a hard, and I'm not doubting Larry at all when I say this, but I just have a hard time with teams. Like if Detroit really wanted to do something with Trouba, would they really let, I mean, the wife's situation, and some of the rumors were, and I think Larry touched on this too, where he may just retire. Well, okay, he's making $8 million a year. I believe if he retires, that money just comes off the cap. There may be more to it than that, but the money would just come off the cap for the Rangers. Mission accomplished, right? That's if they want to move on from the player. Now, that means they would not get anything back in return for him, but they get the cap space they wanted. So, I mean, when a player says that, well, I'll just retire, then well, okay. It's $8 million a year for what, next 2 years at least that he's making. Yeah, I know. I mean, I know that's, and it's not right. I mean, I feel terrible for the guy. From what I heard, he's a fantastic person, great husband, father, I think they got like a 6-month-old child. But again, Ranger fans want to win. And if it's perception that the deal can't get done. So he's admitted, okay, I will go to the Detroit Red Wings or other teams as well. But then, okay, I'm not going to go now because of my wife and her situation. Oh, man. I'm probably more, but I want you on this team. He had an off year. Yeah, listen, you know what, Susan, you're not in the market. Well, maybe you're in the market. I agree with you on that totally. Based on the player, I agree. The 2 years he had before that, the first year I thought he had a subpar season. I think he tried to do too much. The next 2 years, he was everything. The captain of the team, clean hits, like timely hits too. Like he was hitting with a purpose. Like somebody, I think it was Domi, did something in one series. and I think he waited to the next game, and then he just annihilated him. So I agree. He had an off year last year, and that's the problem. So now you're coming off an off year. You start talking about moving him. Everybody said, well, I get rid of him because he was terrible. But I'm with you. As a player, he's fantastic. The issue is that the cap dollars. They got Shesterkin coming up. So it's that is a tough one. But man, God, I just think to myself, oh God, if he goes on the ice and doesn't play well, and all this talk is out there about his wife holding up the trade and everything, man, that's going to be a tough spot. And that's the kind of stuff that, again, him being the leader, the captain of the team, I can't help but think it's going to affect the rest of the team. You think it shouldn't, but man, the guys are only human, right? And I'm not criticizing Ranger fans for this in any way, but they want to win. And if they're not, and it looks like he's holding them up, or his wife is part of holding them up. So, real quiet day for me, William Haynes. I'm making homemade pizza today, sourdough pizza with our homemade sauce, mozzarella, shrimp, tomato, spinach on there. Oh, my Lord. John, yep, I hear you. And I think you're right. Again, if this had not happened, this had happened at the end of last year when he came off a good season. Or maybe last year was a tough one because of the playoffs. But, let me see here. We need another strong defender for our family volleyball tournament. Well, if you see me throw out the first pitch there in Staten Island, I don't think you'd want me. It's funny. When I first came back here to the area, and the men's leagues were contacting me and want me to play like in tournaments and stuff. He tell me you can run the power play. Like, guys, you got to watch the videos. I never ran a power play in my life. Well, maybe in college I did, but not a pro. So it's funny. People have different memories of you as time goes on. So I think I'm better too. I've told you too, like I watch old videos, and if I make a good play, like I'm all fired up. And if I make a bad play, it's like, God, I turn it off. All right, let's talk about some of the free agent signings. All right, so Nashville. And this is the time where everybody, oh man, what great moves these guys made. And no disrespect, Barry Trotz's a fantastic person. He's the general manager now in Nashville. So I don't mean to, I'm not criticizing them. I think I'm maybe talking more in generality and using them as examples where, so everybody's all over Tampa for getting rid of Steven Stamkos. To me, that's happened over and over. Teams make a decision. The player, they need to move on for the player. And the timing of the contract where it ends, they have to do it now. Like if they wait, he's not going to sign like a 2-year contract. I mean, maybe if he was willing to sign a 2-year contract, he would have kept him. But part of it is too, like a player like Stamkos, he takes up so much of the air in the locker room. Not in a bad way, in a very good way. Apparently, he's a fantastic leader. But as a team, you got to say, okay, well, he's not going to be here in another 2 or 3 years, and other people have to take over. So we need to move him out so somebody else can, as a leader, can step forward, take that role on the ice more. That's a decision that general manager has to make, and it's a tough one. So I admire Julian Breezeball, the GM at Tampa. I think it's a smart move by him. He knows he's going to get crucified for doing it. Like when they offered him an 8-year, $3 million a year contract, yeah, that was designed to make sure that he didn't take it. I mean, I guess if he took it, they'd say, oh, okay, well, that's $3 million, so it's easy on the cap. But again, it's not just the cap dollars for him. He's such a huge part of the team. They need to move on. He's not going to continue to be there. You know, like sometimes teams have made a mistake in the past where they continue to hang on to players that have won cups. I think like they owe them. Well, they don't owe them. They owe the fans and the rest of the players on the team to try to win in the future. So they got to make those tough decisions. So I know it's hard, but let me see. Here. I have a hard time understanding the nastiness against Drury for not signing cost some of those free agents. This team only 6 games from Michigan. Yeah, I agree totally. Yep. Yeah, they can't. I mean, this team won the President's Trophy last year. And some of those core players like that Susan mentioned there, like Schneider, I mean, you got to, like he's an important part. Lafreniere is showing that he's an important part. Lindgren, I love him. He's not at that level, again, only because of his size probably. I still love, I love him. Igor Shesterkin, that's going to be the big one. Like if he wants, the rumors are he's wanting like, 12.5. No, Panarin's making 11.5. Now, he's a free agent, so there's a cost to acquire the player that's factored in there. But Shesterkin and his agent don't care about that. They think, listen, we're the most valuable player on the team. We want $12 million a year, 12.5, whatever that number is. So to Susan's point, yeah, you can't go sign all these expensive free agents. There's no guarantee you're going to win with these guys. I mean, you look at Florida. It wasn't all these big wheel like Sam Reinhart and all these guys. They really weren't like when Reinhart was in Buffalo, I believe. He wasn't the player he is now. So like going out and signing these guys to like all these expensive players, like a Stamkos, for example, that doesn't do anything. So you're taking up a spot in the lineup, a big chunk of your salary cap, for what, like a year or two. I think. Listen, if you want to win, again, you look at the teams like Vegas that have won, Tampa won before, Washington won. It isn't always those star players. Like I look at Washington, Dominic Smith-Pelly. They picked him up late in the year. He was on a two-way contract. He played a huge role for the team. That's what you have to have with these teams. It isn't always like you think we'll go sign these big free agents. And again, you're looking at a team that won the President's Trophy last year. So why are you up? I agree with Susan. There shouldn't be anybody worried that, okay, we didn't sign all these free agents. Like fill in the spaces. So you got Zibanejad, Kreider. I know everybody talks about wanting a right winger, play with Zibanejad and Kreider. I'm not necessarily sold on that. These are going to pass where, Bossy and Trache, and then they'd switch in Gillies and Bourne and Tonelli. They weren't always together. It wasn't like one guy played on the wing there. Gretzky and Curry was the same way. It wasn't always one guy. It was Semenko sometimes. These other guys would step in. So in the past, it has always been there's two guys, and you fit in other guys when you can. Like to think, well, I need to put a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't, to me, doesn't make sense. So I know, again, what starts to happen is like people, like somebody make a comment, well, we need a right winger for Zibanejad and Kreider. Well, who says you do? Find go game to game. Give a guy 5 games. Give a guy 10 games. See how it works. If you go shift to shift, it doesn't. There's no rule that says you have to have one guy that's playing with Zibanejad and Kreider. You need a smart player to play with those. They're creative guys. They're great with each other, like making these fancy passes. So have a guy that can read the play, read off them. And not like they shouldn't have to be thinking, okay, we need to get him. He should be thinking, okay, what can I do to help these two guys and get that kind of player? Let me see. Yeah. Carolina just signed Roslovic for $2.8 million. See, that's the kind of stuff that you need to fit in those pieces. And very often you see those, like, Gaudreau, as much as you lost him, he didn't do much during the regular season, but during the playoffs, he scored some really important goals for the team. Those are the kind of guys you have to have. Now, in his case, the Rangers were smart. As much as people didn't like it and he wasn't happy, they need to do what's right for the team, make cap space. He's an older player, didn't contribute much during the regular season, so make cap space. Plus, you got these young kids coming up. You need to make room for them. Like, ideally, the teams that are good are the ones that develop the young players, so they bring them up on the entry-level salaries, which are limited. So now they hopefully got a good young player that's hungry, that's not making much money. That's how you manage the cap properly, the development of your players. So, yeah, totally. And listen, I want to be very careful. I don't know Brady Shea well. We've had a couple of events together. A total gentleman, fantastic guy. But that's a contract that they're not going to like down the road. So was it 7 years, $8 million a year? I think it was, or 7 years, $7 million a year. He is a quality player. He's not physical at all. If they get in trouble down the road and not playing well, that's a contract that people are going to look at and say, what a stupid, like everybody now is patting Barry Trotz in the back saying, well, great job. Stamkos, Huberdeau. Was it Huberdeau? No, who did he get? Can't remember who we got. The other one, then Brady Shea. But like down the road, you look like in 2 or 3 years, like if Stamkos is falling apart or he's hurt, the team's not doing well, Brady Shea, is a liability because he doesn't play the body. Marcia Show. That's who we got to. The guy they got from. And again, I want to be careful because Trotz is a fantastic person. I kind of feel like this is his first kind of, well, not first, but really first big time into like the free agent market. Riley Smith might fit at right wing with Mika and Kreider. We're sorry to see Gustafson go now. Zach Jones can get us. Yep. See, and that's to a lesser extent. That's the example with like the Stamkos thing in Tampa. So you move Gustafson out here in New York. Now Zach Jones gets a chance to play. Same thing with, again, with Tampa. Again, a different level of player. One Cups was captain of the team, face of the franchise. You move them out, other people get a chance to play, and they're younger guys, and you have to develop them. And I know it's tough with Tampa. And people think, well, it's insulting to offer them the 8-year, $3 million. But it's $24 million. So it's not insulting. It's more like, okay, they clearly did not want him to sign a contract, and they're making sure they're going to give him an offer that he wasn't going to sign. I mean, it's not like that whole thing about feeling bad for the player or the team did him dirty. There's no such thing. I mean, they follow the rules. They make decisions that are right for the team, and those are tough decisions. Like Julien BriseBois, the Tampa Bay general manager, he has to make tough decisions. If he's just like, oh, I don't want people mad at me, or I don't want to insult Steven Stamkos, then in the next few years, you're not going to win, and the team's going to go down the tubes because you haven't made those tough decisions. You've kept the guy in there, Steven Stamkos. It's at the end of his career, and you're taking up a spot. You're taking up a lot of cap dollars, a lot of room in the locker room. He made the right decision. Tough one as it was. I'm sure I know him a little bit from doing contracts with him. Seemed like a real gentleman. I'm sure he didn't want to do this, but that's the decision you have to make. Preds are over the cap. Oh, they are over the cap. Oh, thank you, Chris, for that. Chris Somo. Is that you surfing there, Chris? So our hearts and prayers go out to all the people in the Caribbean, too. That was like nasty. What was it? Hurricane Beryl going over Jamaica and everything. So let me see. Yeah. Why isn't some cities have a major advantage? Yeah, that was a discussion. Who did I see? Dreger, I think, was talking about it. It's early in that whole process, but it does seem so. What Tampa's won, Florida's won. There's somebody else. Tampa won a couple. So in the last 5 years, there was 3 teams because Tampa won twice, right? And it was over a short period of time here where it seems now it's a real advantage for those teams. They will have to do something eventually because, I mean, but that's a collectively bargained issue, right? So they're going to go to the players. Owners just can't say, okay, we're going to change how the cap works. They have to go to the players to negotiate that. And as they should, the players are going to say, okay, we'll do that. We'll work with you on that. But what we want to reduce the escrow system. Players do not like the escrow system. They want to change that. I'm sure that's part of the fear with the owners. Okay, they're not just going to give it to us. They don't have to give it to us. We've negotiated a set collective bargaining agreement that's in place. This is the way the cap works. So it clearly needs to be adjusted somehow. But then you're going to say, okay, so now there's that end of it where those Florida teams and Tennessee teams and Texas teams, they have the advantage because of no taxes. Now, the flip side is the Canadian teams they're greatly disadvantaged, more than the rest of the teams in the U.S. because Canadian taxes are I think it totals up to 54%. So what do you do to those teams? So they're going to be saying, okay, you're going to help everybody else around the league to combat what's going on in those, Floridas and Texas and everything. So what are you going to do to help us? Because now we get this high Canadian tax rate. So it opens up a whole can of worms where, which is fine. You can figure it out. It's just that, and again, it's going to be a negotiation. So let me see here. Jet ski. All right. I like that. Somo, you magical creature. What do we got here? Florida teams. Yep, they do. Florida teams, Tennessee, Texas. Yep. So there's a lot of advantages. Listen, if I was playing, not just the taxes, but wouldn't you rather play? I mean, instead of like Winnipeg, would you rather play in Dallas or Florida or Tampa or Nashville? Like Nashville is going to be a place where you're a young hockey player. Man, what a fun place to play. I mean, you can make out better financially. Plus, you also it's Nashville. What is it? What is the women's? They go there to get married or whatever it is, or they have their parties there. Oh God! Let me see. Carla should look at this creature. We haven't seen her in a long time. Carla Sherman. She's the boss of the Greenwich Library, Greenwich, Connecticut. And I mean, she's the boss. She runs everything. She's going to try to deny it, but she is the boss. Okay, just so you know, just everybody knows. So a lot of issues going on in the National Hockey League still, even though the season is done. I agree with everybody. The tax issue is something. See, okay, I knew it. See, yeah, not the boss. Didn't I predict that? Like she says, not the boss. Yeah, right. This is like Michelle Obama saying, "I don't want to run for office." So here it is. I'm not big on politics, but I'm going to give it to you. I think I may have mentioned it before. So probably months ago, maybe years ago, the Democratic Party knew that Joe Biden cannot beat Donald Trump, his declining health. And I feel terrible. I'm not picking on him as a man. He's an elderly gentleman that clearly has some mental health issues. So they put him out in public and he falls down. He stumbles his words and everything. And then all of a sudden they have a debate that was set up to make him look bad by more the Democratic Party, because now let's thought, oh, the debate was terrible. What do you mean? We weren't watching before to see that he was having a hard time before. It wasn't just the debate. So now so now he looks terrible. People are pushing to get him out of there. It's all a setup. It's a scam. And then now, so he's going to step aside, and Michelle Obama will show up. She's telling everybody she doesn't want to run. So here's the old trick that politicians do. I don't want to run. Now it's like, oh, they convinced me to run. So now I'm coming in to save the country. Right. So now she gets a few extra votes because she's saving the country. That's my prediction, Tom's prediction. This is what's happened. This is what will happen in the past. Yeah. Okay, troublemaker. Of course, Carla, you know me better than that. I heard about it. I did not see this. Who's telling me about this? My name is Cressy was telling me about how great it was. I missed there's some video on, but I heard it's fantastic. Don't they live right near the facility as well? And they drive around in little golf carts. Oh, I know. I mean, listen, I love my time playing. I wouldn't change anything for the world, but I see the stuff now. Man, that'd be fun. I live down in Florida playing in the National Hockey League. I remember when I got traded to LA, everybody was still saying, oh, you can't, it doesn't work in LA. You know, you get distracted. I played in New York. You can't get distracted in New York. So the weather was great. We'd go to Manhattan Beach for lunch after. We sit down by the beach, you know. Oh my God. I remember thinking to myself, like, what am I, like I was complaining because I love New York. I want to play in New York. And then I got used to LA and I'm like, guess this isn't so bad. And then Wayne shows up and let me see. You're going to purchase the item message. Is that the mirror? That's funny. That was good. Good catch by you there, Susan. Yeah. I don't know if we'll get that or not. I like to kind of freelance it. You know, I kind of check out the toilet paper. There's a guy, I can't remember who the actor is. I think I mentioned this before. He's hilarious. A funny guy. But anyways, he was in a movie and he was doing kind of like he was being a smart ass. And he goes, I don't know what it is. Every time I wipe, and it keeps coming up brown. He says, it's like I'm wiping a marker. And he's funny when he says that too. The way he says it. He's also the one. That they were talking about. These two women were up front. They're comedians. I can't remember who they are, but they were talking about comeback stories, and they're talking about all these different comeback stories. And then he goes, "Well, Kim Kardashian was a comeback story," and they go, "I don't know, not really." He says, "Well, I'm pretty sure in the video she'd get coming her back." And what was his name? I can't remember. Funny stuff. Let me see. Good morning from a long-time Ranger fan. How come they made moves and missed out on Stamkos King? No, they didn't miss out. No, they wanted it. So that's a misconception with like a Goudreau kind of guy. No, they did give him away. It's for waivers, so they got nothing back in return. It's not basically there was nothing. But that's the thing. The cap dollars are worth things. So you give up players like a Goudreau, you get cap dollars space. Right now, you can go sign somebody else. So whoever they sign now and because of those extra cap dollars that they have now replaces Goudreau. So that player that's actually a trade, but I know it's difficult. But Stamkos and Kane, we're not going to help the Rangers. The Rangers won the President's Trophy last year. They don't need to go out and get two old guys that in 2 years aren't going to be able to play anymore, who use up a big chunk of your cap space. You need to get your young guys signed, develop them. Again, they won the President's Trophy. Do they need to adjust the team a little bit? Yes, they do. They need to be a more Florida type team where they're in your face. They know that, but you can't necessarily do it overnight. And again, you get cap dollars to worry about. So, this golf cart parking. Yeah, I heard about that. Hold on. Everybody drop everything. Okay. Are we prepared for this? Tracy Marie. Oh, what is that picture there? Is she half naked? Is that Tracy there? There, just the bottom on. She's got no top on. My goodness. Ever since she got to see Barry Shelley up there in Cooperstown, New York, I don't know what they were doing up there. Yes, I was on Survivor. I don't like to talk about that, Tracy. You know me. The soap dispenser. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Susan. Yes, I saw that. So they got the Hawk Tour girl hooked up to a soap dispenser. You know what? I'm really happy for her. She seems like she's got an agent and all this kind of stuff and got everything all lined up that she's going to. Somebody mentioned about her being on OnlyFans. She said, nope, that will never happen. I just make funny jokes. So proud of her. Barry Shelley, where are you? Where are you, Barry? Oh my God. I've only got my bottoms on. I don't have a top on. Oh my goodness. Let me see here. Stammers is old. Are you talking about Pete Stamkowski? Or are you talking about Stammers? They don't know. Hi, Tracy Marie. Carla, please, come on. You're the boss of the library. You don't have to bow down to Tracy. You're the boss. Did you just call Carla an idiot? That is not nice at all. Did she address you politely? Oh, stammer. Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, I understand why people have this attraction saying, well, Tracy, she's always right, Tracy. But here again, she's right in this case where, yeah. And again, like on free agents day where nobody's playing any games, everybody just looks at the paperwork, says, okay, look at what Barry Trotz, look what Nashville did. I tell you what, in a couple of years, they're not going to be happy with what they did. Shea is not worth that kind of money. Stamkos will be in a couple of years. Love him. Fantastic career. Great person. He's not going to be the player that makes a big impact. He's not going to be worth $8 million a year. And that's the thing when you do these kinds of things, and there's a cap situation. You say, okay, we signed him. It was fun on the on free agent signing day, but now this player who isn't really doing that much is making $8 million a year, and we're losing. So, yes. Rangers didn't need older players. Agree totally. Develop your young players. Again, they won the President's Trophy last year. They need to adjust their team. They don't need to make it necessarily better. If anything, they can make it worse during the regular season, but to have a better team set up for the playoffs. So I know that's hard for fans and everything, but it's Drury. Listen, I trust in Drury. Just because he tried to do things and it doesn't work. I mean, that's the name. That's like a player. You try to do something out in the ice. If it doesn't work, doesn't mean Wayne Gretzky always tried things. Sometimes it just didn't work. So GM, it's the same thing. You try to get deals done, and they get public. That's the thing, right? There's plenty of deals that they tried to get done and didn't go public and didn't work, and then nobody knows about it. But this one is a very public one with Trouba in particular. So, yeah. Oh, let me see here. Hi, Carla. Hi, Carla. Hi there, Carla Sherman. Hi there. Hi there. Oh, God. Let me go put the rest of my clothes on. I'm Tracy Marie. Let me see. My son and I, friends, have an arsenal of tonight's celebration. 1,600 worth of crazy. Don't blow your fingers off. Okay? Careful. Don't be like who's the ex-giant that was holding on to a firecracker, blew his fingers off. Firecracker on the 4th of July. Yeah. Still think there are moods. Yeah. But it doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't have to happen now. It can happen during the season. What happens is when you get there, like right now, everybody's happy with their team, right? Nobody's losing games. Nobody's writing bad articles about how bad the team played. But once the season gets going, there's still more moves to be made. There's injuries. The teams are up against the salary cap. They're forced to make moves. Remember like Matt Duchene years ago, they made that 3-way deal with Colorado, Nashville, and somebody else. And it was a really creative deal. And it more happened because somebody got into cap trouble during the season, and they had to make a move. So just because it doesn't happen now doesn't mean it won't happen. And again, you're coming off a season where you won the President's Trophy. Again, you don't have to get better. You need to adjust the team the way it plays. So one solid winger, center, more defensive. Maybe a late line like they need that more attitude of I'm going to make you pay to play against us. You're going to look at the Ranger lineup. If you're another team and you go, oh God, I've got to play against. Like if you're playing against the Florida lineup, that's what teams are saying. Oh God, I've got to play against Tkachuk and Reinhardt and all these guys. It's just they keep coming at you, getting in your face. That's the team the Rangers need that, and they will, and they'll get that. Let me see. I'm eager to see the young guys look at what Cooley provided. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example, Susan. So a young guy like that, you don't need to get somebody else. He's there. He will get better. It'll constantly get better. What do they do with Kaapo Kakko? That's going to be interesting, right? And again, that's a deal that can get done at any time. He's got a very tradable contract at $2.5 million. So there's no hurry with that. Again, you get into this season when somebody gets in trouble and they get an injury and they need a player, and now you get something for Kaapo Kakko. You may not get a whole lot for him right now. So it doesn't have to happen right now. And that's the thing. You see, the Nashville is doing all this stuff, and I mean, well, geez, we should do that. Well, no. Some of the best deals are the deals you don't make. I tell you what, I don't. Let me see here. My jury is king. I would say he's the king. There's a lot of good, but I would have, if I'm a Ranger fan, I would have total faith in him. I would not, where he knows what he's doing. He's not, if it doesn't work, it's because it doesn't work. It's not because he didn't do his job properly. So, and again, just because it doesn't happen now, it doesn't mean it won't happen. Like the whole Trouba thing will be interesting how that all plays out. Jason Pierre-Paul, thank you. JPP, that's right, Susan. Don't blow your fingers off. Tweak the team, Tom. That's the key. Well, yeah, you got to change kind of I guess not the culture of the team a little bit. Like even more that guy's like, oh. Like Dave Maloney said it well one time. He said, "Listen, sometimes Brady Shea was a good example. He says he's the kind of guy that I want my daughter to marry, but if I want to win a Stanley Cup, I don't want that guy. I want the guy that I'm stay away from my daughter because it's nasty. If you don't win, it's like, and again, it isn't just about fighting. It's like making the guy pay. Like we talked about Keandre Miller. And this is an example. And again, I like this player a lot. I think he'll have a great career. But he does things like, so somebody goes to hit him, he steps out of the way. He's a big man. I like to see him get stronger. Instead of stepping out of the way, I'd like to see him get his stick in tight, like as a cross-check position. Don't have it extended out because now you're going to get a cross-check penalty. Get it in nice and tight. And cross-check the guy in the arms. It doesn't matter if it's just a big thing. Just like, oh, the guy goes, now he's like, every time you do that 10, 15 times. Now the guy's like, oh, God, I don't want to go hit this guy anymore. I mean, they're going to still have to do it, but they're not going to do it the same way. So, yeah. I feel bad for Trouba now. His wife was dragged into it. Yeah. But again, I think, and again, I want to be careful because Susan's brother and I like Larry a lot. We've become friends. I'm not criticizing him, but I just think that's overstated a little bit. There's many situations in the past where there's been a family situation where the player has to go play someplace else for a while and live on his own, and the family lives and they do their thing. So I'm kind of surprised it's become. I know the agent Kurt Overhart apparently, from what I'm told, was calling around to teams, explaining the whole situation to him. I don't know if he was trying to scare teams away or if he's trying to get a read on what people wanted to do. That is going to be so tough, like you said. And again, I love the Garden crowd, but imagine, Susan, you can speak to everybody that goes to the Ranger games. If Trouba goes out there and doesn't play well and the team's not winning for a few games, it'll be like a hell for him going to the Madison Square Garden and his wife. And again, it's not a matter of being fair. I don't know the people at all. I'm not saying they're doing something wrong, but the Ranger fans want to win. They suffer through hardships themselves. They have to be away from families. You look at military personnel have to be away from families. So it's not like, an athlete, and especially an athlete making $8 million a year is like ruining his life because he needs to be away from his family for 6 to 8 months. It's just not. And again, it's not like they're away from each other all the time. I mean, he'll fly into New York. His family can fly into Michigan. That's the team that he ends up with. So I just think it sets up for, I don't think it's good for the team either. Like if he's playing and not playing well and everybody in the Garden now points fingers at him, and that's going to happen. You know it is. So more surprised to see you on. Oh, yeah, that's Barry Shelley. Yeah, I know when you and Tracy getting all the limelight. I mean, you guys like hanging out there together, buddies taking pictures. Let me see. Yeah, I didn't think Trouba was his matter. I agree with that totally. And Susan mentioned that before too. He did not have a good year this year. He tried to do way too much, and I think that's the pattern with him. When he settles into his game and just does his job. So again, the first year trying to do too much. Big contract, coming to a new city. Did not settle in on the second and third year. Became the captain. Smart hits, second power play unit. If you looked at him as that player the second and third year of his contract, I would never trade him. I know the cap dollars you need to work on, but part of the problem is he had a bad year last year. It wasn't awful. It's just that it wasn't like all the elbowing penalties. He wasn't doing that in the second and third year. Again, trying to do too much, trying to make, and again, you love that in a player. I'd rather have a player that's trying to do too much. It's not trying to do it. It's just being lazy. So, yeah. And that, again, that's part of the issue with the Trouba thing. Zach Jones needs to step in, get more ice time. So if they move Trouba, then Jones gets in there. I mean, I look back at my career, my first year, that was a big thing. I got to play, again, we go like that. We had a game in the first round of the playoffs, the second game of the Kings, and there's big brawls. So Barry Beck, Chris Katsopoulos, Eddie Hospital all get thrown out. So it was just myself, Gresh, Dave Maloney, and Carol Vadnais. And then Dave got hurt, so it was three defensemen. that was one of the best games I ever had in my career because I just was like, you don't think, you're just playing. And that's the key for a young player. When you're not getting played much and you're sitting on the bench, then you're thinking way too much. That's not a good thing for me. Tracy, thanks for all the photos you sent me. I'm pasting them all in my Laidlaw poster. Did Tracy throw any darts? Did he try to damage the Laidlaw poster at all, Barry? I just feel some animosity there. So he was hearing it at the end of last year, then the playoffs. Yeah. So, and when you're the captain and you're making big money in all cities, but especially a city like New York, it's always you're going to hear it. You have to have both ears open, right? Let it go right through. Have a short memory, good plays, bad plays. Get on to the next one. So, but unfortunately, again, now that this whole thing has come public, it's hard to crawl back from it. It's like, I hope for his sake that he has a good year, but still, even if he has a good year, one mistake, especially at the Garden and the whole thing with his wife and everything, it's like like I said, there's been many, many times where that situation comes up or something similar, and it's never gets public. Like, I think it was more like the agent Kurt Overhart. I'm guessing when I say this, Kurt Overhart was calling around the teams and it became a bigger issue. It just is, okay, you deal with it. It's a cold way of looking at it, but you're not going to play for long, and he's making $8 million a year. He can bounce back. But again, the problem is now it's become public that they wanted to trade him. So David Mingay from Marquette. Where is that? Where is this? I missed it. David Mingay from Marquette, Michigan. Happy 4th of July. Oh, man, did we have some fun up there in Lake Superior. 4th of July. Do you think you have Melly back on? Nope. Is a quick answer. I know. I've been getting away from, I'm trying to take a little bit of a break from social media, from doing too much stuff. I just found like I was getting, even getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I forget I'm 66 years old. I hate to admit that, but he doesn't post his 3 a.m. message either. It's not 3 a.m. It's 3:53. Yeah, we need to make some adjustments for old Tom. Tom, we need to look in the mirror and say, okay, Tom, you got to do some things for yourself too. Let me see here. Say it again, Tom. I don't think we heard you the first 17 times. About what? Which one? I don't repeat stories. What are you talking about? Never. First shot. Oh, Barry. I can't believe. Did you guys probably practice that? Like, say, what can we say to Tom online? It's terrible. Can't believe it, Barry. But before the emergence of Fox. I wouldn't say to run the number 1 power play. The number 2 power play for sure. But I don't think I never viewed him as that kind of player. Very good player, but just, I guess in fairness, though, I did a little bit of that in Winnipeg, but I don't view him as that kind of guy that's the number 1 power play guy. Again, he's the second power play unit. Come out there and pound the puck. He's got a great shot. Ex-wives can bounce the lid off the show. Funny. Tom must have a lady friend he sleeps in. Yeah, sleeping in at 5:30. No, sometimes you got to do something for yourself a little bit. I recommend that to everybody. You're 66. Don't get old on us. I know. God, I got no problem with 60. No problem with 65. God, 66 years old. God, some of the health issues now, like the back and the shoulder, and my brain. That's it. See, now Carla comes on. You know what I think what happened here? Okay, so Tracy probably contacted Carla because we haven't heard from her in a while. Said, okay, let's get on July 4th and let's tag team Tom later. Let's really bully him. Let's disgrace him in public. Right? I'm sure that's what it was. All right, so we covered the Trouba thing. We figured out all the politics. So Michelle Obama will be the Democratic nominee. I know. Yeah, but you're not getting up at 3:30 in the morning. Save the planet single-handedly. Same with the universe. Let me see here. The whole time Tracy was up, all I heard from her was Tom this, Tom that. Yeah. Like, and then at the end of that was Tom's an ass, Tom's a jerk, right? That's what it was. Let's go see a Tracy Marie again. Let's take a look at that picture of her. Put some clothes on picture. Like, what is she like? It's a family show. She's gotten on there like half naked. Look at it. Come on, Tracy. Oh, yes. Okay. So the book is, I believe it's done. We're just verifying all the pictures. So here was part of the discussion. So when we self-publish on Amazon, it's more expensive. We put like color cover and color pictures on it. It's much better to have that, but it raises the price of the book. So the whole debate was, so we'll have 3 different price points. There'll be a hardcover color, there'll be a soft cover color, and there'll be an electronic version. So we're just figuring all that stuff out because we want it to be affordable for people. So some people want to have a book that's like a coffee table book that you keep out. So a hardcover color is much better. Other people, they just want to read it. So you don't need the hardcover. So that's the stuff we're figuring out right now. And in fairness to Deb, who's worked very hard on it, that's more me dragging my feet. So first time doing a book. So let me see. Yeah. So Dukes and Palin on the pad. Get Dukes and Palin on the iPod. Oh, that'd be fun. Oh, again, just in case people didn't hear at the start of the show, I'm glad you brought that up, Chris. Mark Pavich's sister, Jean, will be on next week at this time. And I think Mark's like his best friend. I think it was Ronnie. I think was his name. I'm not sure on that, but he'll be on as well. So we really help, talk to people about the ranch that's in Mark's name, update everybody on that. And not fairness, Jean brought up that there were some things that were said about Mark or the whole situation that were not accurate. So she really wants to clarify that. So when I heard that, I was like, well, again, I'm probably like everybody, I was kind of naive, just thinking what I heard was the truth. That it'd be great that she can really straighten things out. So again, 10 o'clock next Thursday, Mark Pavich's sister, Jean. And it's his best friend. I believe his name is Ron, but obviously figure it out. So again, you guys can ask any questions you want about that, clarify all that situation. So it'll be interesting to have her on. Because you know what it is too, like we've talked about, like Mark was a great teammate and everything, but Mark was he stayed to himself. And so interested to learn. I'm really glad she's coming on so we can learn more about him through his sister's eyes and his friend's eyes. So okay. Christmas. Better be in the Greenwich Library that you run, Carla. What drama did I miss? Someone tell me. No, we still have guests on for Monday. Mark Puttenvik and I do the 11 o'clock show. And then we have our Full Change podcast. That is a regular podcast you can get on all podcast platforms. Please like, share, comment, particularly on Apple. So that has guests on it all the time. We've done over 100 shows there. So you better pay attention a little bit more, Carla. I know you're very busy running the library there in Greenwich, but Full Change is a podcast there. So we have guests on all the time. So very interesting guests too. I guess I'll behave that show. You don't misbehave. Maybe put some clothes on, like get a sweater, like superimpose a sweater on there. It looks like you're half naked. That's the only thing. Tom was inspiring until today. Now he's acting old. Oh, jeez, Danny, that is nasty. Send you a copy. What, you gotta buy a copy? What are you talking about? Jerry Grosshandler. Same to you, brother. You have a great day. I catch the podcast. You do the Full Change? Okay, good. I'm sorry, Carl. Let me jump on. I just know that you're so busy running by yourself, like being the boss of the Greenwich Library. I just know that you have a busy schedule. That's all. But sure. Now you're hanging around with Tracy Marie and her half-naked body. So. All right, buddy. Everybody have a fantastic 4th of July. We actually went longer than I thought we were going to, but everybody have fun. Do not blow off your fingers with the. But Danny, you could. I shouldn't say that. That's terrible. New author send copy. Okay, I see how it works. All right, so I'll send you a copy. I can deliver it in person to you. I live approximately 1 mile from the Greenwich Library that you run single-handedly. Quiet day today. I'll see the family a little bit, but they've got my oldest son's got plans, got friends coming over. Him and his wife bought a nice house, and actually it wasn't as nice at first when they bought it. They fixed it up. It's beautiful. Got a great backyard, got the smoker and all that kind of stuff. So they'll get your friends coming over. We've gotten to the point where I love my sons to death. They love me, but they have their thing going on, and I'm just fine sitting relaxing. So the old man that I am, as far as what Danny said, that really hurts. I'll tell you, that hurts. All right. Personal. All right, everybody have a fantastic weekend. Again, once again, the holidays are tough sometimes for people, right? So the whole 988 hotline and shoulder check, make sure we're reaching out to people, make sure everybody's okay. Everybody can be healthy here. Let me see here, just answer a couple more questions, not Danny's, but had season from 79 where they were a whole time with the Rangers. Okay. Let me see. Is your son's dog afraid of the fireworks? I don't think Maverick, he's not afraid of anything, Maverick. I don't know though. He's got quite the personality. He's very independent. Like doesn't sleep. He goes downstairs and sleeps. Got a bed downstairs. He likes to be by himself. He came in the other day after a couple of years, and he was still excited to see his grandpa peed on the floor, which I thought was really cute. My son was all upset, and I said, "No, you kidding? It's fantastic." He gets so excited to see his grandpa. He pees, and then I keep the back door, the screen door open, so he can go on the back deck, and there's a little grass area, so he can go pee there and everything. I forgot to open it. The poor guy, he was running. He was all excited, to come into the house and pee in. So he's going around the back door, and he rammed his head right into the screen. I felt so bad because he's counting on me to keep it open and everything. Oh, terrible. Grandpa let him down. All right, everybody, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see everybody on Monday. Be safe. And again, next week we'll have Gene Pavlich on, Mark's sister and Mark's best friend. I believe his name is Ronnie. So everybody have a fantastic weekend and a great 4th of July.